guys, welcome to me reacting to New Play Control for Wii, Scott the Woz by Scott the Woz. Now, I have not seen this. The main reason why I'm whispering is because I'm recording this very early, and I need to be quiet for the rest of the people in the house. So today you're gonna get some cool ASMR from me, you know. You're gonna get some ASMR, but New Play Control for the Wii. I don't really know what this is. I mean, I've never actually played any of these New Play Control games. You know, I've had a Wii. I know about Wii, and you know, I love the Wii. Best console ever, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, guys, Scott the Woz, let's get right into it.
Hey all, Scott here. It's 40-odd-90.
Okay.
These days have it so easy. They only have to walk 20 miles in the snow to go to school. Oh yeah, well, I have leprosy. My favorite food is no indoor plumbing. It's pretty tough living in this time period, so hopefully in the future they'll have bathrooms and flying cars and Mario Power Tennis with motion controls.
Mario Tennis!
Like 2 out of 3.
The Nintendo GameCube is my favorite
Okay.
game console of all time. No other system, in my opinion, had the quality and quantity of the types of games I like. The games were just different back then. So many
True.
franchises were being nurtured and supported. The games looked and played.
I don't remember the
Licensed
GameCube.
games had a certain level of quality you just don't see in those types of titles these days. It was such an exciting era, and going back to it, most of it holds up tremendously. But I can't fit the controller in my mouth. Thankfully, Nintendo listened, and their next console, the Wii, well, now they got to replace Pikmin. Listen, I'm not one to encourage popularity contests, but let's be honest here. The Wii sold over 100 million units. The GameCube, you wouldn't be caught dead in a GameCube. So off to the drawing board. Nintendo created the Wii
True, though.
for an entirely new market. Everybody who didn't
Wii
know
is a
the
god.
motion controls
Best
with the
game
Wii
ever.
remote and nunchucks.
Oh, best console ever.
Change 'em in.
I'm running for senator.
This system was up because of the controller.
Of course.
In reality, the Wii was more or less a souped-up GameCube power-wise.
It's funny, but
Shot at this
yeah,
hardware. If your son only
it's
bought
actually pretty
150
good.
Units, that's embarrassing. Using last-generation technology kept costs down and gave the Wii an affordable price point. Couple that with fancy controllers, go f*** yourself. And working with older
Oof.
hardware makes game development easier. Nintendo's developers didn't have to relearn much to continue making games for the Wii. They struggled with game output on the Nintendo 64 because of the transition to fully 3D games. The same happened with HD game development on Wii U. But see, with the Wii, they could
Oof.
just take games that they were making for the GameCube and transition them over to the console, no problem. They barely even had to upgrade the graphics. It was the Wii. People knew it was basically another GameCube. Why mask it? The Legend of Zelda Twilight
Dang.
was initially a GameCube exclusive, but
I actually had no
the
idea.
platforms are basically the same thing, and if we put it out on Wii, it can be a launch title. Oops! Super Paper Mario was originally being developed as a GameCube game, but they decided to just make it a Wii game. Capcom put Resident Evil 4 on the Wii early on, and Masahiro Sakurai didn't return as director for a Wii version of Super Smash Bros. They were just going to re-release Super Smash Bros. Melee on the Wii with online support. The
They did?
systems were so similar.
What about Brawl?
Sufficient for Nintendo and other developers.
Well, yeah, what about
Take projects
Brawl?
that either already released or were in development and put them on Wii with no major pressure on upgrading the visuals. So the main focus of these re-releases was the controls.
Nintendo loves re-releases. They would re-release Jesus Christ if they could. But see, you couldn't just re-release
They're doing it now.
GameCube games on the Wii because you could already play GameCube discs. If you were gonna re-release a game, you had to re-release it for a good reason. And out of lust doesn't count.
Nintendo's solution? The new Play Control line.
Nintendo, that's your solution to everything.
Oh, what?
Ports of GameCube games with enhancements enabled by the power of Wii. These weren't like
Oh, these
Mario
are just
Power Tennis Definitive
GameCube?
Edition. They were more like,
Wait, what?
here's the original game, but on Wii, including the benefits that come with being on Wii. These are by and large the exact
Oh.
same games, but with some tweaks here and there, making most of these the best way to play. Most. In 2008, Nintendo announced plans for a new line of Wii software under the brand Wii Daisobu Selection. That roughly translates to Play on Wii. Why didn't everything have that label? GameCube games updated for the system, even though you could already play them on Wii. Pikmin 1 and Donkey
Oh,
Kong
you
Country
could?
were the first
Oh.
games announced, and most people were fucking befuddled. You could already play these games on your Wii. What's the point of this? If backwards compatibility wasn't an option, sure, I can see why they do this, but it was. Looking back on comments, people just didn't get it. Like stimulus checks. However, in hindsight, this line made a lot more sense than initially thought. First off, GameCube games on Wii still required GameCube accessories, like controllers, memory cards, so acting like all Wii owners had the right to Pikmin wasn't true. Sure, they could play the game on their Wii, but they
True.
had to go out of their way to do it. Not only did did they have to own all this junk? They had to track down a copy of the original game. Also, I think 99% of Wii owners didn't know what a GameCube was. Hey, Grandma, Mario Power Tennis is already on Wii. You just have to get a game controller and memory card in the original game, which isn't in print anymore, and you can only find used copies of it in some GameStop stores and on eBay. Oh, she said I'm in. Right, but not everybody wanted to deal with that, so adapting these games to the Wii console, it makes a lot more sense nowadays. Soon the games were announced to come to Europe with no further details, and later on afterwards, the games were fully confirmed worldwide to be under the brand New Play Control. You know a name is good when you can swap around the 3 words in it and it makes just as much sense as the official one. So when Nintendo introduces a new branding, how long are they in for? They get bored easily. Come on, 7 games, and only 3 of them had the New Play Control branding in North America? Nintendo was the best at this. Hey, buy the Wii U microphone. It's compatible with a statistic. Well, the few New Play Control titles we did get, we got starting on March 9th, 2009 over here in Europe, starting things out in February in Japan.
Why didn't they just re-release it then?
2008.
For the
The
Wii?
next year, the rest
Why
of the
did they
titles
do this
came out.
weird
This line
branding
didn't really
thing?
go anywhere after 2009, which just makes its introduction even stranger. Either they only had a few games in mind for it, which at that point, why even create a unifying brand called New Play Control Pikmin Resurrected or something? Or they were unhappy with the sales of the existing New Play Control stuff and canceled future plans for the line. Maybe sales weren't that great because these boxes look like they were as seen on TV. This is how they appeared in stores, with so many random text blurbs and generic Wii circle designs all over the place. Even the spine feels the need to say New Play Control twice. I think even Nintendo knew this design wasn't ideal. It doesn't feel like box art, it feels like an advertisement. They gave each of these games a reversible cover with the original box art taking up the full space. It's still labeled as New Play Control though, but I think I just realized the font they used for this is the same font a lot of Nintendo's first-party GameCube games used on their spines. You win this time, Nintendo. I do really like that, but by and large, these are full-fledged Wii releases. Thick manuals, full disc art. These are just as Wii as any fling smash on the street. They just happen to make the boxes as unappealing as possible. I'm sorry for dogging on this, but like I said, these are full Wii games, yet the boxes make them feel like so much less than that. 100%, these did not make sales expectations. Just looking at this little ad included in Mario Power Tennis, it states, keep an eye out for these and more titles in the series. These were the only New Play Control titles. Japan did get all the games that were part of the line, and they all look very similar to how they did in other regions. So with the reversible covers, they do put unique little warts on the spine of each game. You know, I should talk about the asphalt I drove on to buy these games. Enough stalling. Let's see what GameCube games look like on my Wii.
They look
Let's
exactly.
go in North American release order. First up, New Play Control Pikmin released on March.
Oh, so now he's just gonna go through the
Pikmin on the
games.
Nintendo GameCube, a game that came out so close to the GameCube's launch, it didn't. It may not have lit the world on fire sales-wise, but it did decent enough, selling over 1 million copies of a new IP on a system that sold only 21 million units. I think that's pretty good. Of course, being an early GameCube game comes with the quirks of looking fucking disgusting. Fine, albeit pretty dated. But what does Nintendo do to an 8-year-old game with dated visuals? Let me see more of them. The first addition to a New Play Control game, widescreen support. Now, Pikmin on the GameCube controlled perfectly fine. I never really had any complaints with it. You aim your Pikmin with the analog stick. You are restricted to where you're facing, though. I think an immediate idea people would have would be left stick controls character, right stick controls cursor. No, it's not like that. We as humans have to accept this is how to Pikmin. Until now! Now, not only do you point the screen at wherever you want your Pikmin to be thrown exactly, but you can move independently of this cursor. This is a huge deal for Pikmin. Again, the GameCube controls work perfectly. There's really not much wrong with them. Sure, they could have given you the option to use the C-stick to aim, but this is 2001 Nintendo. I don't think they knew this stick existed. But for what it is, Pikmin on GameCube controls just fine. However, you compare it to the Wii version, and it's night and day. Whenever I go back to this one, I just think, God, I just want to lock onto this fucker. On the Wii, it's seamless. You don't think about it. This works, but the Wii Remote and Nunchuck
Oh, nice.
made for Pikmin. Some sound effects come through the Wii Remote now, which is cute. Though any sound that comes through this speaker makes me feel like I'm drowning, and vice versa.
Holy sh! That's Mario!
There are various other small tweaks made to things graphically, sound, and gameplay-wise. Just improvements like Pikmin survive a tad longer if they're drowning or on fire. And that stinks because I fucking love drowning Pikmin. Guess who's pissed? Other than that, the only thing that's a slight downgrade from the original would potentially be the fact that, man, when you want to throw Pikmin onto something, you mash the A button across both versions. On the GameCube, you can stay locked onto one thing by, well, just not moving the analog stick. On the Wii, if you mash the A button to throw your Pikmin, it's more likely your cursor's gonna fidget a lot, considering it's kind of hard to keep your hand perfectly still while having an aneurysm. But I've never really come across a moment where that's detrimental. I just think some people may not like that compared to the original. This is the definitive version of Pikmin, in my opinion, and unlike other re-releases that changed quite a bit, this is literally the exact same game as the GameCube one. Any tweaks are pretty minor, and they are for the better. So So we're off to a good start with new play.
Oh, okay.
This was completely warranted. So we have it the same day as new play control Pikmin. It wasn't the best day for multiple reasons. New Play Control Mario Power Tennis released the same day as Pikmin on the Wii, but released on the GameCube in 2004. It was pretty good, but I wouldn't say it was my top choice for a game to get a second chance on Wii. They brought Pikmin over because it felt like that game would legitimately benefit from being played with a Wii remote. They brought Mario Power Tennis over as a replacement for a Mario Tennis made specifically for Wii. Yeah, for some reason, Nintendo skipped out on Mario Golf and tennis games during this generation. The developers of those series, Camelot, seemed to at the very least want to do a Mario Golf game, their own game with Capcom, but instead of getting to make a new Mario Sports game for Wii, they just ported Power Tennis from the GameCube. Well, of course, we have widescreen now, which also applies to the cutscenes too. But when it comes to video files, it's absolutely terrifying. They just zoom into a 4:3 image or stretch it across the screen, but no. Either this cutscene was always made with widescreen in mind, or they went in and re-exported it to widescreen. This is fantastic. You see so much more in the frame than ever before, even though it's the exact same video from the GameCube. So, we got the widescreen checked up, the controls. Oh, it's fine. It's okay. It's just so much worse than the original on GameCube, so it just makes me ask, why even do this? They oversimplified Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis, the game I already pretty much just hit the A button in. When you played tennis in Wii Sports, sure, it's basic, but it was made for motion control. In Mario Power Tennis, it's basically them taking button commands from the GameCube and assigning Wii Remote shakes to it. It's patronizing. It's not better, really. It's literally just for if you want the illusion that you're swinging a tennis racket. And for that illusion to barely work. It's just not as controlled here. The motion controls feel half-baked in. Like, it works, it's fine, but it just isn't as precise as the original. I like motion controls, but the game has to be properly designed around them. This was originally a GameCube game that was ported over to Wii that just replaces hitting the A button with shaking the Wii remote. Boo. Also, why is there no online play? It feels like this would have been the perfect opportunity to include online multiplayer in Mario Tennis for the first time.
True.
As I predicted, while this is a solid enough port technically, it was done just to put a Mario Tennis on Wii and nothing else. Again, it's fine. It's not that bad of a version. It's just like,
Ooh.
why? Well, we had to wait a whole 2 months for another new Play Control game. This one being Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, released on May 4th, 2009. Jungle Beat originally used the DK bongos. You know what else used the DK bongos? Probably not Geist. Such an interesting peripheral. Bongos that were themed exclusively to Donkey Kong that got more than one game. Not only did it get multiple rhythm games called Donkey Kong,
what?
Nintendo crafted a full Donkey Kong platformer based around them. The smack, clap, really do anything to get evicted. This is such a wonderfully stupid idea to play a platformer with bongos, but it works. The problem though,
Really?
how wild this concept is, it definitely turned off some people and makes the game a much harder sell, even if you could still play the game with a regular GameCube controller. But that's no fun, so this Wii version is kind of the best of both worlds. You get a more traditional control setup with buttons and sticks, but you still get to perform actions similar to what you do with the bongos. The result is a much more refined and accessible version of Jungle Beat that does unfortunately lose a hint of magic. This control scheme works quite well, but damn it, the other one used bongos. That was what made Jungle Beat so interesting. It's still a good game, but it's like playing Wii Sports with an Xbox controller. This did make me think how nice it would have been if these versions supported the GameCube Classic controller. It truly would have made all of the new Play Control titles by default the definitive releases, no questions asked. You get the best of both worlds. You can play the original way with any of the enhancements the Wii versions bring with it, or you can just not be a bitch and play with a Wii remote. It would have been nice to have outdoor GameCube controller support, but that's just not how new Play Control rolls. Jungle Beat's also interesting. It's the only new Play Control.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better.
Add new content to the game. There's a few new levels in this version. Nothing crazy, basically a boss rush and one final celebratory level for collecting everything, but just goes to show this is the most changed game of the lineup. The bosses of various levels were swapped around from the original version, how levels are organized, some levels had to be redesigned for the new controls. Even the story was expanded. It's still not massive, but in comparison to the GameCube version, which had a single sentence explaining things, it's definitely slightly different. Jungle Beat on the game.
Oh, that's interesting. That's good, actually.
But he's pissed. It's still Jungle Beat at the end of the day. There are definitely some more changes than other new Play Control titles. I wouldn't not recommend this version, but you are missing out on a bit of the fun by playing without the bongos. That's it. There were more new Play Control games, but
The bongos.
these 3 titles carry the name in North America. Like, you don't named Jaundice if only 3 people can get it. Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes were 2 other games a part of the new Play Control line, only in Japan though. Over here, they were bundled alongside Metroid Prime 3 Corruption for Metroid Prime Trilogy, releasing on August 24th, 2009. Yeah, you know what? I'll gladly take getting 3 games for $50 in comparison to buying 1 of each for $30. I don't know why they felt the need to give us a massive deal like this. I mean, it's Nintendo. They charge extra for when they put less effort in. But I'll take it, and I'll actually take the lack of new Play Control branding. No, I don't need Play Classic GameCube games with enhanced Wii controls on my cover. I know. If I had to guess, I assume Nintendo already figured this brand had somewhat negative effects on sales. I guess this doesn't look very appealing, and the name doesn't make me go, here. So packaging the first 2 games with one already released on Wii was a smart move. But that doesn't mean the Japanese new Play Control version of Metroid Prime is the exact same as Metroid Prime Trilogy version of Metroid Prime. Like the channel intro video! The title screen.
What?
Trilogy, you just select one of the games from the menu and it hops right in. The Japanese version. Metroid Prime on the GameCube.
What?
Was a revolution for the Metroid series, bringing it not only into 3D for the first time, but in a first-person perspective. This completely had every opportunity to blow, but it didn't. This game is remarkable and still holds up to this day. Control's weird though. Much like Pikmin, this works perfectly fine. Move with the analog stick, then to aim your arm can, use the C stick. Gotcha. You hold down the shoulder button and you stay in place as you aim. Huh. I mean, it works. The Metroid Prime is designed around this control scheme. It does the job. But when we move over to the Wii versions, oh, this is so much better. It's similar to how Pikmin was upgraded. Now we can move and aim independently of one another. And at the same time, too, it makes the game so much more intuitive, so much faster paced. This is no doubt better than the GameCube original.
Oh, okay.
This version controlled poorly, but
So some of these seem like they're
there are
better.
some things that are worse on Wii, though, even though the game overall looks better with widescreen support and more advanced textures. Apparently, they took out some small special effects like water rippling. Can't forget Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, because if I do, everybody else will. I always found this to be one of the lesser talked about Metroid games, so I will continue this tradition. Take all of what I said to Metroid Prime on Wii and apply it to the sequel. Echoes on the GameCube had the same control scheme, so it also deserved the Wii upgrade. It was all included in Metroid Prime Trilogy, except for the channel intro and title screen.
What?
And that
Ooh,
is the Play Control
It's
series.
before that.
What the is that? Much like how Prime's follow-up got a new Play Control release, Pikmin's sequel got one as well. New Play Control Pikmin 2 released on March 12th, 2009 in Japan, April 24th, 2009 in Europe, and June 10th, 2012 in North America. What was the diagnosis? Yeah, New Play Control Pikmin 2 just didn't come out here for 3 years. I assume it's because Pikmin 1 really didn't sell well on Wii. I'm telling you, they knew this brand wasn't great. Now, why did they finally decide to release Pikmin 2 in North America? Probably because they were bored. 2012 was the year the Wii successor was hitting the market. The final year of any Nintendo console is generally pathetic. It was the year of Mario Party 9 and very little else. Because of this, Nintendo decided to publish some games that hadn't made it over here yet, like Xenoblade Chronicles and, of course, Pikmin 2. They released it as a Nintendo Selects game, which not only meant it retailed for $20 at launch, but also that we weren't lacking some stupid fucking border. They include some text which states this is a GameCube game with Wii controls, but nowhere does it say new Play Control. Not anywhere on the box. Other games had it, but this one, it is a new Play Control Pikmin 2 over here. It's just Pikmin 2. Mario Power Times got into
Wow.
version, and they removed the new Play Control title from that one too. You see, I'm telling you, this brand was a nightmare. I always find it weird when they release a game for the first time through these budget things. Like, Nintendo Selects is supposed to mean this game sold over 1 million copies, or it was a smash hit already, so they're re-releasing it at a budget price. But that's just not true here. Nintendo just admit you were scared to give Ohioans Pikmin 2. While playing the game is Pikmin 2 on Wii. This is my favorite way to play Pikmin 2, retaining most of the same changes and enhancements Pikmin 1 saw on the platform. I'm happy it finally came over here after so long, which is more than I can say about Chibi Robo. So we finally got Pikmin 2
Oof.
for us, but there was still
Yeah, is he gonna
one
talk
Play
about
Control
that?
title that never left Japan.
Chibi Robo?
Surprise! Final new Play Control title, Chibi Robo, released on June 11th, 2009 in Japan only. So this was a GameCube game released the year the Wii came out, and it had a funny, stupid name. They were asking for this. So it makes sense to give Chibi Robo a second chance on Wii. You just don't want to give him too much of a second chance. The only new Play Control title to not leave Japan in any form. Definitely a shame, as this could have slightly given Chibi Robo more of a shot here in the States. I mean, it wouldn't have done that well, considering other new Play Control titles sort of flopped, but the translation work was already done for the GameCube version, so it would have been pretty fairly easy to localize this one. Nintendo already barely advertised new Play Control in North America.
Oh, really?
A marketing budget would be blown on this game, and it just straight up would have filled out Nintendo's 2009 release schedule a bit more. There's a good reason why new Play Control was a thing that year. But no, Chibi Robo for Wii stayed in Japan, and after playing this version, I can kind of see why. The motion controls really don't add anything to this game. You just shake your remote to clean spots up, use the pointer to select yes or no options, which is honestly kind of annoying. In the original game, you would just use the analog stick. Here, you still use the analog stick to move, but then they force you to point the Wii remote at the screen to say yes or no. The controls work fine, but I wouldn't call them better. It is kind of cool that they incorporate some point-and-click elements in this version, as Chibi Robo originally was envisioned as a point-and-click adventure game. But this is definitely in the lower tier of new Play Control, in my opinion. Both Metroid Prime and Pikmin games are better on Wii. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is debatable, and Mario Power Tennis and Chibi Robo, they're fine versions with some good enhancements, but overall, I do think the GameCube originals are the way to go. New Play Control is such an odd subset of the Wii library to me. What once was something I saw no value in became something I'm surprised I didn't do more of. Just get rid of the branding new Play Control and release more games like this. Pikmin and Metroid Prime showed the potential this line had. I think Luigi's Mansion would have been perfect for new Play Control. Even Mario Sunshine, being able to point your flashlight and flip pack with the Wii remote would work crazy well. Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. If they thought Mario Power Tennis deserved it, just do it. Throw Mario Golf on there. What about Wind Waker? Give it the Twilight Princess treatment and use the Wii remote as a sword. It especially would have made sense with the Wind Waker in the game, using the remote as a conductor's baton. What about Star Fox Assault, F-Zero GX, Kirby Air Ride? They just used the Wii remote like a steering wheel. This had so much potential. But they gave up before New Play Control really had a chance to make the Wii this ultimate Nintendo console. Sure, it didn't have a Star Fox, but with New Play Control, it kinda could have. These titles retailed for $29.
Yeah, true.
And obviously took less time to develop than brand new games. So it just kind of puzzles me why Nintendo doesn't do more of this. On the Wii U, they put out Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, and if they did more re-releases like that, it would fill up any software droughts and bring back a classic while enhancing it at the same time. And that's what New Play Control did, but they gave up on it after 2009. Where was Mario Golf? Not every entry here is the definitive version, but they're cool versions of GameCube games from another dimension. In honor of them, I've decided to turn a new leaf, and yes, I do need this blurb. If I need to hide this thing, I can. I never use the lower 60% of my body anyways.
What? Okay. Weird ending. Honestly, I like this video. It's entertaining, and I think it's interesting. You know, to look back at the Wii console and see, like, what Nintendo did. And for the Wii, and, you know, they obviously made some bad choices that not a lot of people know about, because I didn't know about Wii Play Control, mainly because I also didn't really know about the GameCube. So, yeah, honestly, nice, cool history lesson, I guess, about the Wii, because I had no idea about this. Yeah, honestly, this video was really good. I liked the pacing of the review. Not only that, I thought it was really funny. There were a lot of good jokes, and yeah, it was really funny. But yeah, anyways, guys, enjoy the vlog and subscribe to my channel. See you next one. Bye!